This is Chicago. At the dawn of the 21st century, Chicago's media was dominated by a handful of major corporations. But a resistance movement arose to free Chicago's media from their clutches. One player in this movement is the Chicago Independent Media Center and its TV show, Chicago Independent Television. The Independent Media Center is a worldwide network of grassroots correspondents committed to using the tools of the media for promoting social and economic justice. You are watching this month's dispatch from the Chicago Independent Media Center.
Welcome to Chicago Independent Television, a collection of progressive video reports by grassroots media workers, produced free from corporate or commercial support or influence. I'm your host, Robin Klein. In this episode, we'll join up with protests against the building of a controversial new hotel. We'll visit a protest in solidarity with the Russian punk rock group Pussy Riot, and we'll follow up with some stories from earlier in the year regarding the Chicago NATO protests in May and an anti-war protest from March. Stay with us.
Chicago Independent Television is not brought to you by AT&T, the company lobbying hard to destroy network neutrality and public access television. Learn more at SaveTheInternet.com. AT&T, your world degraded.
Mr. Bishop, I want to use this picture on the front page of our next issue.
Oh, come now, Nancy. We can't print a picture like that. Paper is read by people all over the city. Just think what a picture like that would do to the reputation of our newspaper.
I don't think we should hide things just because they're unpleasant. How do we stop things like this if we don't let the people know they're happening?
Welcome back to Chicago Independent Television. This month saw a historic strike by the Chicago Teachers Union, in which they are demanding better conditions, sensible teacher evaluations, and an end to school closings. In a related event, activists and citizens protested the construction of an expensive new hotel in Chicago's Hyde Park neighborhood at the expense of using those funds to help area schools. We'll join the protest and learn more in this segment.
Money for education, not for corporations. Money for education, not for corporations. Fight back! Fight back!
My name is Flynn Murray. I'm a member of the CTSC, and I'm a community member here in Hyde Park. And I'm out here because I don't agree with TIF funds, our property tax funds, being used for things that aren't public education. This isn't a battle about development, and we're not a group that takes any kind of stance on whether development is good or bad, because to us that isn't the issue. The issue is that something that could easily be funded with private funds from the UFC, from the Pritzkers, from the Hyatt, other independent stock owners, is taking public funds. And also the fact that that Hyatt hotel won't be paying property taxes for 10 years, which would equal another couple $1 million in funds that the public schools in this area could gain.
At 7:45 a.m., I opened the doors to a building dedicated to building, yet only breaks me down.
We are here because we protest the grotesque conflict of interest presented by Penny Pritzker's position as the Hyatt billionaire heiress and Board of Education member when the board itself proposed cuts of $3.3 million from schools in this very neighborhood.
My neighborhood needs the TIF funds. It needs the TIF funds for education. It's very painful for me to see my grandson not get the opportunity as an American, not necessarily an African American, but as an American to his right to education, quality education, and this project is taking that away from him, and children that are just like him that are traveling 8 to 10 miles a day just to get a quality education.
In support of the teachers union and their mission here to get the TIF money directed to where it belongs. Hyatt doesn't need TIF.
My name is Corey Lanham. I'm a representative with the National Nurses United. We're here to protest basically the taxpayers funding this Hyatt right here while they're threatening to close schools in the neighborhood. We're also out here to support the workers of Hyatt.
My name is Jess Cadjo. I work with Unite Here Local 1, and we are here supporting Chicago Teachers Union, and we're here in solidarity with them.
Hi, I'm Bethany Smith from Ray Pre-Kindergarten, and I'm here to fight with the union.
I'm a preschool teacher in a Chicago public school on the Northwest Side, and I'm here today to say that I believe education should be a right, and that not just any education, but that in the richest country in the world, in a city this wealthy, with billionaires like Penny Pritzker, every child should be receiving a world-class education, just like Rahm Emanuel's children. I'm real happy to be a member of a union that's fighting for that.
And I just recently got involved in the Chicago teachers movement. I mean, I'm always in support of teachers, but now I'm starting to learn what exactly they're fighting for. And I mean, I'm really just a person who knows there's a lot of injustice and a lot of it, needs to get addressed, and a lot of it needs to change.
Hi, I'm Vermin Supreme, and whenever I'm watching some sort of moving images on a screen, it's indie media for sure.
Chicago Independent Television is not brought to you by Coca-Cola, whose logo is stained red by the blood of murdered Colombian labor union organizers. Learn more at killercoke.org. Coke, the drink of the death squads.
Welcome back to Chicago Independent Television. 3 members of the Russian feminist punk rock protest group known as Pussy Riot were given a 2-year prison sentence for what amounted to a peaceful act of civil disobedience. The woman's imprisonment has spurred worldwide expressions of solidarity, including this one in Chicago.
Черные рясы, золотые погоны, все прихожане ползут на поклоны, призрак свободы на небесах. И пройдут отправить в Сибирь года. Глубоко губы, главный седой, ведет протестующих снова конвой, чтобы святейшего не оскорбить. Женщина может рожать и любить. Страсть, страсть, страсть Господня, страсть, страсть, страсть Господня, страсть, страсть, страсть Господня, страсть, страсть, страсть Господня. Women's rights are human rights! Free Pussy Riot! Women's rights are human rights! Free Pussy Riot!
We're out here protesting the imprisonment of Pussy Riot today, who have been given a sentence for 2 years because of speaking out against the Putin regime. And I think it's really important to be out here because it's become a greater struggle for women's liberation and a greater struggle for freedom of speech, and so I'm glad to stand out here in solidarity with them to protest oppression of all kinds, especially against women.
I'm Jerry Boyle of the National Lawyers Guild, and you're watching Chicago Independent Television.
Chicago Independent Television is not brought to you by Walmart. There's a reason we're the world's most profitable corporation. We pay our employees peanuts. Learn more at walmartwatch.com. Walmart. Always low wages, always.
Welcome back to Chicago Independent Television. Our next segment features a number of grassroots political activists who share their thoughts about NATO at the time of the protests around the 2012 Chicago NATO Summit.
There's a temptation, if you have a powerful military, to use it in ways that maybe is not appropriate. And I think we have made that mistake in the past. And if that's where you're going with this, I absolutely agree with you.
This America is turning into a country I don't recognize anymore. This is not the country I grew up in.
I mean, I gotta be honest, like when I first enlisted, I kind of bought all the rhetoric, hook, line, and sinker.
You need to get away from your television, watch the broadcast, get away from your television, hit the street. There's a revolution going on, and you're missing the global change.
Veterans have an interesting perspective on the way things are going on in the world, and then on the processes and on the policies of NATO, because we fought under them, we experienced them, we know what they say in practice isn't necessarily what's going on in the ground.
The North Atlantic Treaty Organization is a military alliance. It is not a humanitarian agency. It is not a relief agency. It's not a charity. It's not the Rotary Club International. It is an alliance of 28 Western countries, European and North American countries that are in the business of in theory, protecting themselves, but in fact, over the past 13 years, of waging war.
Yeah, we're trying to save our pension fund. Retired Chicago police officer. I am, yeah. And that's information on it. JP Morgan Chase Bank is our pension fund bank. We discovered the pension fund abuse in 2005, notified the U.S. Attorney Patrick Fitzgerald about that. And in the book there, Truth or Treason, the 5th edition is what we have on here. It's all in there.
I am opposed to what's happening in Iraq and Afghanistan and the way NATO is being used as kind of a tool for corporate capital interest.
We were told that we were invading the country of Iraq, you know, to bring democracy, to bring down Saddam Hussein, to do all these great things for the people of Iraq. But when I was there, I didn't see any of these things happen. I didn't see a lot of help being given to the people that needed it.
You're out here saying that the 1% with all the power and all the banks, factories, oil wells, natural resources, all their wealth is created by human labor. It's created by people like you and I who bend our backs, and all we get in exchange is petty wages. And it's about time we rise up and we overthrow this 1%.
Here to somewhat express our whatever right we have left to free speech and free organization, because there's a lot of misinformed people in every camp, and that's pretty much the only efficient tool in mental battles like these is information.
The United States is a nation for immigrants. In fact, so we, the immigrants, have the right, the same right that have all the before immigrants that came to the United States, the right to work, the right to be here, and the right to live and be happy.
I'm out here protesting the large number of wars that are bankrupting this country. I am, in fact, one of the people that believes that Obama's spending too much. What I disagree with the conservatives on is that I don't think he's spending too much on people. I think he's spending too much on war.
The thing is, this is the war of the United States. It's not the war of NATO. 90% of the forces belongs to the United States.
You've got the NRA, you've got the GOP, you've got the Republicans, you've even got the advertisers that advertise on Fox News who make money off of catering to white supremacists, the Klan, Berkshires, etc.
They want to institute a missile defense system in Europe, and they're the ones that enforce, I'm sorry to say this, President Obama, but your wars. And why I'm here too is because how our civil liberties are being taken away by NDAA, CISPAS. People just slowly, gradually, our liberties are being taken away.
What you're looking at is an alliance of all the past major colonial powers in Europe. Britain, France, Spain, Portugal, the Netherlands, Germany, Italy, and the world's sole military superpower and the great colonial masters are united in trying to resubjugate the world. That's the purpose of NATO.
I saw a lot of big bases being built for the U.S. military, and I saw a lot of huge, construction projects going on, like the embassy and us taking over BIOP, the Baghdad International Airport. But it didn't seem like it was benefiting any of the people that we were said to be there. And it really started to make me question, why did my friends die for these causes? What was the causes that we were sent over there? And it didn't seem like bringing democracy was the answer.
Corporate control of everything. Corporate control of the government, the state, the banks, nutrition, healthcare. Corporations control everything. And I'm also here, that's superfluous for this.
The sooner they get out, there'll be peace in Pakistan and Afghanistan.
We need an international peace movement that talks about demilitarization, end of war, now, forever, altogether.
It's the beginning of a conversation, because what people are finding out is that on a very basic level, we pretty much agree on the most important things. We have disagreements about how we get there, and that's fair. That's the nature of life. But the fact that we would like to make a more humane and just world, I have no problem with that. The question is, how do we do it? NATO is the creature of the governments that created it. And so a lot of the criticism of NATO is really criticism of national policy, and that's fair enough. But I think NATO is not really the target. I think it's what the various governments are doing, and what they're doing is smart or stupid.
The wars aren't meant to be won. They're used as testing grounds for the United States and NATO to build up a global expeditionary military force for the next war, if I may, real quickly.
I was given these medals, along with other veterans and other service members, for things that I don't really feel are worthy of praise or worthy of medals. They're tokens of an occupation, they're tokens of suppressing other people, of inflicting violence and terror on groups of people on the other side of the world, and they're not really something I want to hold on to. I'm giving these back as a way to start the healing process and to send out a hand of reconciliation to the people that we have caused damage and terror in the lives of these civilians and people of other countries.
Chicago Independent Television is not brought to you by McDonald's. Environmental destruction, unhealthy food, low wages, and repressed labor rights. And lawsuits against people who talk about it. Learn more at mclibel.org. McDonald's, I'm not loving it.
Welcome back to Chicago Independent Television. Though combat operations in Iraq have officially ended, the U.S. is still involved in questionable military efforts around the world, which continues to draw protest here at home. In this segment, we'll visit with activists who organized a Chicago anti-war protest back in March.
Stop the war! Stop the war! Stop the war! Stop the war! No, no war on Iran! Stop the war! Stop the war! No, no war on Iran! No more war on Iran! Stop the war! Stop the war!
Welcome to today's rally on, unfortunately, yet another disgusting anniversary for the United States, the 9th anniversary of the U.S. war on Iraq. The war that our president tells us is over, even though his Pentagon just a few weeks ago asked for $3 billion more for this supposedly ended war.
We all know that what the Syrian government and what the Iranian government are doing to their people is wrong. We all know that. We all agree. But those people have a right to self-determination and a right to determine what's going to happen for themselves without interference from the U.S. government.
This is a culmination of a whole series of the U.S. building up its empire illegally and unjustly. There's a basic law that one country has no right to invade or attack another country unless it's been attacked first. The government of Afghanistan did not attack the U.S.
My friend has already spoken about the drone attacks. For the last many years, Pakistan is under drone attacks. So far, more than 300 drone attacks have taken place and more than 3,000 people have been killed, innocent people. And they say that we are going to kill the terrorists. I don't understand that the drone from 20,000 above, how can they recognize who is a terrorist and who is not the terrorist and innocent? So the question is how the American go there killing the innocent people. Number one, they are responsible for this criminal act, and number two, they are violating the sovereignty of a sovereign nation.
It's ridiculous that we allow our government to continue to waste billions and billions of dollars every year to brutalize and subjugate the people of Iraq, and it's time to stop this. It's time to hold the administration's feet to the fire, and even though they are just politicians, we still have to hold them accountable.
Anyway, Obama drones on while the Bill of Rights burns. That's the problem. The justification for increasing war in Afghanistan and Iran and Yemen and Somalia, you name it, Uganda, Australia, it's always the claim that we are engaged in an unending war, the so-called war against terror, whether the official language is that or not, an unending war that encompasses the whole world. Drawing from that premise, our civil liberties come in second. And this government, a continuum, as Andy suggested, from Bush through Obama, has jettisoned fundamental rights of assembly, due process, and so on. We're coming up against this in the plans for the protest against NATO on May 20th and on the days around that in Chicago with permit issues and other issues threatening our right to legitimate assembly. At the extreme of this, we have had the appearance of the Attorney General in Chicago at Northwestern Law School just a few days ago, claiming that the President of the United States has the right to authorize the execution without trial of American citizens anywhere in the world. That's about as far as it goes. That goes beyond torture. People were worked up about the torture issue under Bush. Now we have presidential kill orders openly, quote, justified by the claim that the constitutional guarantee of due process doesn't mean, as our Attorney General said, judicial due process. You can have your due process in the secrecy of CIA meetings on drone attacks on 16-year-old boys in Yemen, and that's your damn due process, and be satisfied with it because we're defending you in the war on terror.
We're here in front of a flag that says "Remember the Maine" at the Pritzker Military Library, and as many people may recall, this was an incidence of yellow journalism by William Randolph Hearst. There was a big propaganda movement to start the Spanish-American War. The Maine was a U.S. ship that had sunk just off the coast of Cuba, and there wasn't any real indicator as to what had caused it to sink. But the papers and the people who really wanted to start a war jumped on it, and that became the slogan, "Remember the Maine, remember the Maine." And that was used to create a pretext in order to start an offensive war against Cuba. And eventually we annexed, a lot of colonies in there, and got all the way to the Philippines, Hawaii, and that was a big force for American imperialism. And I just thought that was a little ironic, since seeing that we're here today for this NATO meeting. And here right behind us is a flag that says "Remember the Maine" on it. Maybe if we really looked into that story and did remember the Maine and that incident that unfolded, we might think twice about people that are trying to sell us a war in the future.
I am a soldier who survived the fear of facing Uncle Sam and saying, "Sir, no sir, I won't fight for lies. Forgive me, wounded soldier, for not being there to ease your pain. I'll try on this end to bring you home now."
You've been watching Chicago Independent Television, a project of the Chicago Independent Media Center Video Collective. The Independent Media Center is a growing worldwide network of media producers, journalists, citizens, and activists, working to put the media in the hands of everyday people and away from corporate and commercial interests. To learn more, visit our website at chicago.indiemedia.org. There you can find out about upcoming Chicago area events and how to get involved in making your own media, including how to help make this very TV show. Thanks for watching. See you next time.